stand clear of the closing doors, please.
It's such an embarrassment. This team is probably the worst part of my life right now. It's just absolutely insanity what the New York Mets have become here in 2025. You just cannot make it up. They find a new, horrible way to lose every single freaking time. It is just... I'm beyond words at this point. There's no other way to explain this. I sound like such a broken record. The New York Mets are killing me. They are literally just eating my insides up. I've never seen anything like it. I have never seen a team find a way to lose, pull to victory from the jaws of defeat. I'm sorry, defeat from the jaws of victory as often as the Mets do. I have just never seen it. As the Mets once again find an embarrassing way to blow this game. They have a 2-0 lead going into the 8th inning, and the wheels completely come off. There were so many issues, even leading up to that 8th inning, but in the 8th, of course, it begins with a catcher's interference. How many of those have the Mets had this year? They must lead the league in catcher's interferences this year, as Tyler Rogers gives up a double, a sac fly to make it 2-1, and the Mets go to Edwin Diaz for the 4-out save, who promptly walks his first batter before giving up a game-tying double. To the 9th we go, and that's without mentioning the bottom of the 8th, beginning with Brandon Nemo standing on second to lead things off on a throwing error. And what happens? The Mets go meekly 1-2-3 after that. They can't even advance him to third. And then Edwin Diaz in the 9th, after a long wait because of an injury, pitching change. First batter, a ball off of Lindor's glove that goes down as an E6, but absolutely should be caught every single time by Francisco Lindor. And then with 2 outs, an RBI single to give the Rangers the lead. Juan Soto does his best, a single with an out. Pete Alonso goes down swinging. The moment just too big for him once again. I guess it was just a 1 year or a 1 moment wonder for Pete last year in Milwaukee. Ronnie Mauricio, the double, giving you a little bit of hope. And Brandon Nemo striking out on 4 pitches, as the Mets have now lost 8 straight games. It is the longest losing streak of the year for the New York Mets. They are now in a virtual tie with the San Francisco Giants for the final wild card spot in the National League. There is a very good chance that the Mets will wake up tomorrow out of the playoff picture. What's up, guys? I'm Tony Metro. Welcome to the stream. I do daily Mets content. Be sure to subscribe. Post-game recap after every Mets game. Be sure to leave this video a like. Go ahead and do that right now. I appreciate it very much. You can also follow me on all the other platforms. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Links to all of those are in the description below of this video. Guys, if you want to call in and be a part of the show, vent your frustrations about the Mets, you could do that. Go to the link to Discord also in the description of this video below, and I'm ready to take calls whenever you guys hop into the Discord channel. But my goodness, what an absolute embarrassment. Another gut punch loss. Another game with the Mets having multiple opportunities and their heads up their ass once again, and the losing continues. I can't even believe I just sat there for 3 hours to watch them blow this game. I'm so disgusted. Let's go to the chat. I feel like you guys probably feel exactly like I do. Armand, what a way to waste Sproat's start. What a great start from Brandon Sproat. 6 scoreless innings. He gives up 6 hits, doesn't issue any walks, and he gives this team a puncher's chance to win this game. But so many more blown opportunities and miscues by this Mets team. It gives them just a 2-0 lead, really a 1-0 lead, with Sproat leaving that game in the 7th inning. Fortunately, Soto able to hit his 40th home run. More on him later to make it 2-0. but there were so many missed opportunities in this game and miscues by the Mets that leads to them ultimately losing this one 3-2. Armand, reasons they lost today: only one run against starting pitcher Patrick Corbin. Yes, Patrick Corbin, who is a road ERA over 5.60. Patrick Corbin, who the Mets have always demolished, was able to actually get through, I believe it was 4 2/3 innings. I believe he worked into the 5th inning there, and they only get one run despite having the bases loaded in the 1st inning, right? So Starling Marte at the plate. He takes strike 3 on the inside corner. That's a great start. Then the Mets begin, I believe, that 5th inning against Corbin with 1st and 2nd and no outs. And what happens upon a pitching change? Brett Batty gets picked off at 2nd. The 2nd time this week that idiot Brett Batty has been picked off in the middle of an inning. And there was a lot more to say about that dope Brett Batty. People wanted to tell me he was a starting caliber 3rd baseman, lowest IQ baseball player I think I might have ever seen in my life, getting picked off twice in a single freaking week. What an idiot. We'll get to him more later. So Juan Soto becomes the first Met to hit 40 homers and 30 stolen bases in a season. So Juan Soto, 40 homers, 30 stolen bases, and like Absol says, first Met to ever do that. Becomes just the 3rd player, really only the 2nd player, but the 3rd time that a player has had a season of 40 homers, 30 stolen bases, and 100 walks. The only other 2 times that happened, it was both accomplished by Barry Bonds. So Juan Soto in some rarefied air. Unfortunately, not really all into any type of personal accolades at this moment right now with how the Mets are playing and knocking on the door of being completely out of the playoffs. See what happens with the Giants here tonight. Mr. Dare 1969, the season is a train wreck. Why couldn't Sproat pitch the 7th? I mean, look, you could have put Sproat back out there. Either way, you probably were going to go to Tyler Rogers there in the 9th inning or in the 8th inning anyway. So Brooks Raley had an effective, clean, no problem 7th inning, and then you would have probably went to Tyler Rogers, who has the catcher's interference and then gives up a ringing double the next batter to put 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. How about Edwin Diaz comes in and gets his job done? And by the way, I would not have had Edwin Diaz come out for the 8th inning for the final out for a 4-out save. I thought that was doing too much. I know this is a game you need, but Edwin Diaz has barely pitched lately because the Mets have been losing so much. I would not have asked Diaz to get a 4-out save, and he did not have it today. Had his first 2 sliders way out of the zone. One of them goes to the backstop to put the runner at 3rd, and eventually gives up the double to Rowdy Tellez. So yeah, sure, Sproat could have pitched the 7th inning, and it wouldn't really have changed anything because a catcher's interference from Francisco Alvarez. Somebody, Absol, I know you would be great at this. How many catcher's interference have the Mets committed this year? Because it has to lead Major League Baseball. It is ridiculous how many times this has happened this year. Back off the plate a little bit. Has anybody in the dugout told the Mets catchers to maybe think about that? My goodness, free base runners again. You could have let Sproat pitch. It wouldn't have changed the outcome. The Mets bullpen blows it. Their defense blows it. Piss poor at bats from the lineup. Just an ugly shit freaking game. Jim and FLA, $339 million, not even going to get to a wild card. Hey, $365 million is this team's payroll, Jim and FLA. Don't forget it. Yeah, so we're paying even more to not even make the playoffs at this point. Absol 8 in a row, worst losing streak of the year, right? Exactly. Like I said, Mark Rapp, I honestly can't anymore. I've never hated a Mets team like this in my life. I have not either. I hated 2023, but wow, I truly despise the 2025 Mets. This actually might be the team I hate the most of all the Mets teams that I have seen. Born in 94, obviously don't really have any recollection of any of it till about 2000, 2001. So 25 teams that I've seen and can actually recall, this probably takes the cake as the team that I despise the most. I am right there with you, Mark. John Reston, what's with Pete? Pete, man, I don't know, man. You know, when Pete swings and misses on any type of pitch during an at-bat, it's almost like you know he's not going to come through. You know he's going to strike out or pop out. I don't know what it is. It's maybe just a gut feeling from me from observing him. But Pete, just doesn't look right. And I said it in last night's stream, Pete's numbers at the end of the year are going to look solid. He's going to have an OPS around 850. He's going to have 30 plus home runs. He's going to have 120 RBIs, but he has very quietly been descending down that mountain that he built up these first 2 months of the year. He has not been as clutch or as impactful as he was during April, May, and the early part of June. And very quietly, it has gone under the radar, but Pete can't come through in that ninth inning. You had Ronnie Mauricio pinch hitting there. He actually gets a double to put first and third and give the Mets a chance with 2 outs, and then Nemo strikes out on 4 pitches. Great. Thanks so much for playing. Red Bear Fox, the pathetic losers that make the core of this team bring zero winning attitude. Soto may not be a rah-rah celebratory, but he's a damn winner. Screw Lindor, Alonso, and screw Nemo. Red Bear Fox from the top rope. Wow, calling out some of the mainstays of this core here. Nemo, Lindor, and Pete. Man, I don't know what it is, but this team just can't seem to perform when there are expectations. And last year, they come out to the really bad start, and they obviously have the team meeting, 18 games under 500. No one expects them to turn it around, and they do it. But this year, they come in with all the pomp and circumstance, all the expectations, and they just have completely crapped down their leg. It is just unbelievable. And I got to agree with you, Red Bear Fox. There is something about that core of players, Nemo, Lindor, Alonso, that just don't seem to have that winning clutch gene, that just don't seem to have the ability to rally that clubhouse and get it going. An 8-game losing streak in the stretch run, capped today by a ugly 3-2 loss in which you carried a 2-0 lead into the 8th inning, in which you finally got a decent starting pitching performance from a rookie in Sproat. 6 scoreless innings, and all you can scratch across is 2 measly freaking runs in this game with Patrick Corbin and his ERA over 5 on the mound. Unfreaking believable what this team has become. I've never seen anything like it. Truly. El Chamo Charon and bye-bye Mets. Honestly, very frustrated. I'm done, man. Emotionally checked out, but this game has got me boiling. I am heated about this game. I'm going to continue to watch, continue to do my streams here. I said I was emotionally checked out. Maybe not based on how I am acting right now during this stream, but wow. This team just finds new ways to lose. Let's see. Red Bear, what's with Pete? What's with Pete? He's not effing good. Pete's gone next year, guys. Pete is gone. I don't want to say that name. Musicum 22, top of the order, up in the 9th and can't even tie the game. It starts with Francisco Lindor striking out on a ball in on his hands. Then you have Soto with the base hit. Pete strikes out. Nemo strikes out. Just absolutely disgusting. How fitting. How about that in the 8th inning when you have first of all, Brandon Nemo gets to second on the field or on the throwing error to lead that off. Then you have Brett Batty, by the way, earlier in this game, let me refresh your memory. I believe it was in the 5th inning. First and second, nobody out. Rangers make a pitching change, and Brett friggin' Batty gets picked off at second. The second time this week that Batty has been picked off. Inexcusable. What a dope. What a moron. And then we go to the 8th inning. So Nemo at second, nobody out. Brett Batty at the plate. Gary Cohen trying to rile us up as fans, saying a chance for some redemption for Batty to make up for getting picked off earlier in this game. And what does Brett Batty do? Can't even advance the runner. Can he? No. Can he drive him in now? Strikes out swinging. Brett friggin' Batty, sit your ass on the bench, you loser. What an idiot. Unbelievable. And how fitting, the reason I started this whole sentence, Jeff McNeil draws the walk after the pitcher injury change. First and second, 2 outs. Cedric freaking Mullins. Swinging and missing. I don't know if it was hot at Citi Field today. Probably not, but providing enough wind and whiffs for the entire crowd at Citi Field today. Cedric freaking Mullins. And for it to come against who else but a former Met in Phil Maton, who records two outs in this game and helps the Rangers close down this win. You just can't script it, ladies and gentlemen. Musicum, the catcher interference, Batty getting picked off. Ugly, terrible. Danny Cap says Mendoza's lost the locker room. Every Stearns move has been shit. No lies detected there. Danny Cap's 100%. Red Bear Alonso's average has dropped over 80 points since the end of May. Do you know how bad you have to be to have your average drop 80 points? It's a long sample size, obviously, but yes, I mean, guys, Pete got off to a ridiculously hot start, and a lot of us want to bury our heads and pretend, well, because it's better than last year and because the OPS is at 850, he's having a good year. But Pete had a really solid first 2 months, and since then has been very blah. Very, very blah, just like the rest of this team. And it's not just me calling out Pete. You can say it about pretty much anybody on this roster outside of Juan Soto. Then you got Diaz tonight. Diaz coming in for the 4-out save, which, again, I will repeat, I completely disagreed with. Rogers doesn't maybe give up a ringing double if there's no catcher's interference there on Francisco Alvarez to begin the inning, but he gives up the double. He does get a sac fly, though, then. And then he gets a strikeout. So I am not going to change out Rogers there. I don't like Edwin Diaz coming in with the tying run 90 feet away, because all it takes is exactly what happened for Diaz not to have command of one of his pitches. He walks the leadoff batter, and then Rowdy Tellez, pinch hitter, first pitch swinging, rips a double into right field. Fortunate that it went over the wall for a ground rule double and didn't bring home the go-ahead run at that point in the game. So I completely disagree with Carlos Mendoza's decision to bring Edwin Diaz into this game in the 8th inning for the 4-out save. Guy has barely pitched. Last time it was in Philly. It was in mop-up duty, essentially, because the game was already out of hand. He went 1-2-3 in that inning, granted, but I would not have went to Edwin Diaz there in the 8th inning. And then he comes out in the 9th, and what happens? What happens? Ball deflects off of Francisco Lindor's glove. Absolutely should have been caught. He's able to get an out. It advances a runner to second. And then it gives up a 2-out base hit into right center field for the go-ahead game-winning run. Could you imagine if the Mets could get a 2-out base hit? It just doesn't happen for the Mets. The Mets don't get 2-out base hits, but they get bludgeoned to death by other teams with 2-out base hits. The final 2 runs for the Rangers come in with 2 outs. But the Mets with 2 outs? Forget it. Come on. The Mets don't do that. The Mets don't get base hits with 2 outs. That's illegal. The Mets aren't allowed to do that. At least I think that is what they might be convinced of. But they give them up. They hand it out like candy on Halloween to other teams. There is no philosophy, pitching or hitting, for this team. They have no philosophy, no approach at the plate. Pitching wise, 2 strikes. Hang her down the middle. That's fine. We don't need to waste a pitch. It is just mind-numbing what this team has become. Watching them on a daily basis is literally driving me cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm going nuts here, guys. More nuts than I already freaking was. James Lee, leadoff double, 0 outs, doesn't have Batty bump. What the F? While the Rangers bunt with a runner on first to have him score on a single. You could have had Batty bunt there. At that point in the game, it was... Wait a second. Hold on. Oh, yeah, it was 2-2. So, yes, you could have bunted Batty there. You probably should have bunted Batty there. Yeah, I completely agree with you, James Lee. You could have had Batty bunt after Nemo reached second on the throwing error. Instead, Batty does what Batty does, comes up small in every moment possible anytime he's on the field because he's a scrub and a bum, and I cannot wait to see him off of this team. Strikes out, but you absolutely should have bunted him there. I'm with you 100%, James. You're on the money with that. Let's see. Musicum says, honestly, hope the Mets lose out. I do not hope that, but I do hope that they miss the playoffs at this point. I don't even care at this point. What is it going to do if they make the playoffs, which, newsflash, they're not. That's my opinion. I don't think they're making the playoffs at this point. They are in a virtual tie with San Francisco right now. San Francisco plays the Dodgers tonight. The Dodgers, of course, can't do us any favors, losing to them yesterday. And if the Giants win, they will go a half a game ahead. Oh, and by the way, we do have the tiebreaker over them. The Reds have the tiebreaker over the Mets. I'm sorry, I just don't see how it's happening. Red Bear Fox, look at all the comments people are making about different things. Batty pickoff, Alvarez interference, Lindor not making the catch, Diaz wild pitch, Alonso not clutch. That's a never. Whoa, I just lost it. That's why I hate YouTube sometimes, guys. My bad. Yeah. 100% though, Red Bear Fox, your point stands. Yes, that's a bad team. The Mets make a million freaking mistakes today. A million freaking mistakes. The catcher's interference, Batty getting picked off, not taking advantage of a leadoff runner on second in the 8th inning after they tie the game. Starling Marte with the bases loaded in the 1st inning, looking at strike 3 on the inside corner. There are a million culprits that you could blame for this game tonight. And that is the mark of a bad team. 100%. Danny Cap Soto's thinking, what did I just get myself into? I know, right? Soto's the only one that can actually still do anything. The only one that can actually produce and do something positive for this team as he launches the homer and then with an out in the 9th inning, gets the base hit, the potential tying run. Nemo, Pete, we'll just go down swinging. Let's see. Pope Platinum beats Phillies plus 13 in the NL East. I mean, yeah, it's looking that way, huh? They're going to be plus 13, but I don't even care about the NL East at this point. It's the wild card, which I'm slowly starting to not care about either because it looks like the Mets are not going to be making the playoffs this year. This is just absolutely disgusting. The average ape, is it even worth spending time to watch this team anymore? I can think of so many better things to do. Look, if I wasn't doing these streams, I promise you I would not be watching this team right now. I would be checking in periodically for the scores, but I would not be watching them. But because I want to do these streams with you guys, I am watching every game intently, and it is just turning my stomach every freaking day as they are staring down the barrel of a 9-game losing streak tomorrow, getting swept in back-to-back series. It is not worth doing it. If you're not doing a stream, if you don't have a responsibility to the Mets and watching them, then I highly advise for your blood pressure, for your mental health, to stop watching the New York Mets in 2025 because I do not see it getting any better, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Todd Licata. Oh, well, go Dodgers. Yeah, I would have went to Rogers in the 8th anyway, but maybe Sproat could have gone 7. I mean, yeah, Sproat could have gone 7. They probably were going to Rogers in the 8th, though, no matter what. And I mean, look, it's going to be a different game. It's the butterfly effect at that point, right? You may not get the catcher's interference in the 8th if you had Sproat pitch in the 7th. A meteor may have hit Earth if Sproat pitched the 7th. Who knows? So can't do the ifs, ands, and buts, but I mean, I'm not going to get worked up of them going to Rayleigh in the 7th inning because he had a clean inning. No problem there. Scoreless 7th. But the wheels come off in the 8th, and it all starts with the catcher's interference. And I don't think it was the right decision to go to Diaz with 2 outs there in the 8th for the 4-out save. And I said that in the moment. So this isn't revisionist history. This isn't hindsight. I just truly felt that way in the moment, and it ends up blowing up in the Mets' face. No, you're Rican Flava. Too many injuries ruined this season. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to blame it on injuries. This team has just been piss poor fundamentally. They don't hit well. The starting rotation is in shambles. It's a new culprit every freaking night out of the bullpen when they find a way to lose. No, I am not going to blame this season on injuries. I refuse to let the Mets off the hook that easily. These guys played like friggin' losers. K. Robinson, Mets are cooked, no doubt. And here you are, a Phillies fan in my chats. Thank you for the support. Really appreciate that. Jose Lopez Moya, some Philly fan must have put a curse on the Mets. Can't win away and can't win at home either. Get rid of these ugly uniforms, by the way. I am so done with the City Connect uniforms. Gone. Banish them forever. I'm sick of seeing them. Disgusting. Horrible. Just the worst. TC says, couldn't have a better fan base. Karma, baby. Okay, for sure. I don't know who you're a fan of, but enjoy, my man. Red Bear Fox, just because it started when the injuries happened doesn't mean it was because of the injuries. Injuries have almost zero to do with this team. Okay, it's not like we lost Francisco Lindor for an extended period of time, or Pete Alonso, or Juan Soto, the main 3 cogs in this lineup, and yet they have been utter trash since basically June. The whole team. We didn't lose. We lost a lot of starting pitching, obviously, but even when they have come back since then, it has not been good enough. All across the board. Starting rotation, lineup, bullpen, defense. It has all been absolute trash. King One Supreme says, Pete has sucked, but I still want him back. I just got to tell you, King, it ain't happening, man. I just don't see it happening. David Stearns didn't even want to sign him this offseason. The fan base basically guilted him and Steve Cohen into bringing him back on the contract that they did. Pete is gone. I don't see him coming back. I like Pete, but I don't see him coming back. I don't see him being a part of the long-term vision for this front office. So I would not be surprised to see Pete Alonso playing in a new uniform next year. Sandman Games, Tony, what's up? Mookie and Tony, the legend, all need our therapy. The Mets alumni game had more life. The Mets alumni game was more entertaining than the Mets versus the Rangers today. The Mets and Rangers, wow. What a who would have guessed the Mets alumni game was better? I bet you if Ray Ordonez was suiting up for the Mets here today, he would have made that catch that Lindor couldn't make the play on. Wow. Red Bear Fox says, RM1042, put a fork in them. They're done. I think this team is better without Alvarez. I'm not going to say that about Alvy being on the team. I mean, Alvy had a homer yesterday, and you know what? He's not the only one that has committed the catcher's interferences this year. It's been Hayden Sanger. It's been Luis Torrens as well. I don't understand why this team, no matter who's behind the plate, continues to make catcher's interferences or commit them, whatever you want to say. I just don't understand. Is anybody who's in charge of that, the infield coordinator maybe, I would assume, or whoever, if there's a specific catcher's coach, told them to back away from the freaking plate? How many times have they gotten a catcher's interference this year? I mean, my friggin' goodness, you'd think they'd have learned by now. And it once again freaking costs them. Joe, no words to describe this mess, and I have been a Mets fan since 1973. It is so despicable. I mean, just a new freaking way to lose every damn time. Just when you think they can't go any further in the rock bottom, man, they just keep drilling and drilling and drilling and getting lower into the deep earth, into center earth, the core of this planet, and they are taking us all on this train wreck of a ride. It is utterly disgusting what the New York Mets have become here in 2025. Kev Chada late here. Surprised I didn't see Fire Mendoza signs at the game. Yeah, well, you know what? Mendy hasn't been perfect, but these players, man, did Mendy not make that catch at shortstop that deflected off Lindor's glove? Did Mendy commit the catcher's interference? Did Mendy give up the double after the catcher's interference or walk the first batter he came in, aka Edwin Diaz, and then the game tying ground rule double? Did he get picked off second base? And I get it. It's a reflection of your manager. The way your team plays is a reflection of your manager. So maybe there is some truth to it that Mendy has just not done a good job of getting these guys going. So I will give you that. And I have been on record, and I will say it here again. If the Mets miss the playoffs here in 2025, he is beginning 26 on a burning red hot seat. And if the Mets do not get off to a flying color start next year, he is gone by May for me. Gone. I am not firing him after this year. I am putting more blame on the players. But if this team looks as lethargic and unprepared as they have looked now for every freaking day for the last 3+ months, Mendy's gone, in my opinion. He better freaking be at least. Let's see. Kev Chada, how bad would we be after if Stearns didn't get lucky signing Pete Lee? I mean, yeah. Well, you know, Pete's not been so great lately either, though, if we're being honest. We touched on that before. I said it, you know, they've kind of been, it's kind of been an early, you know, stat padded kind of year for Pete, and he's tailed off since then. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. JV, 2007 Rockies deja vu. They still got this. What? Are you kidding me? The 2007 Rockies couldn't lose down the stretch and then march their way to the World Series before getting obliterated by the Red Sox. What are you talking about, man? This ain't happening, man. JV, they're done, dude. I don't think the Mets are making the playoffs. I don't know what's going on, man. The stream is going off the rails here, guys. Sorry. Hopefully we can get it fixed again, but we're having some struggles. I'm going to check in, see if we do have any calls from Discord, although that's probably the worst idea I can do with the way the stream is going now. So give me a second, guys, while I just make sure everything is working over here. But sound off in the chat, guys. How you feeling? Are the Mets making the playoffs in 2025? That is my question to you. Go ahead, leave this video a like. Go ahead, do that right now if you have not already. I really appreciate you guys all tuning in. We got a lot in here today and a lot of comments. I'm trying to keep up with all y'all. Let's see. NY Rico flavor. Nuyo Rico flavor. They need a little Coke like the 86 Mets, man. Just kidding. You know what? Something to get these guys juiced because they do not look like they get up to play ever. They don't even realize that they're in the middle of an 8-game losing streak, I don't think, or that if the Giants win today, they're about to leapfrog them in the National League wildcard standings and bump them out of the postseason picture. So maybe a little bit of Coke, maybe a little bit of 86 Coke would do this team well. Jose Lopez says that with all the overhaul Stingy Stearns will do next season, team will barely be competitive. God help us fans. We'll see what happens with Stingy Stearns, Jose's favorite nickname for David Stearns. There's going to be some overhaul for sure. I think this core is going to be dismantled. I really do. I think there are going to be major changes. I think he's going to be highly dependent on this farm system, which granted has been ranked number 1 by ESPN as recently as this season. But I think we are going to see some massive changes. I'm talking Lindor possibly, or I'm sorry, Nemo possibly gone. I think Pete Alonso is definitively gone. Jeff McNeil, even though he's having a solid season, I think is gone. There is going to be a major change in that, of course, without mentioning, the pending free agents in the case of Starling Marte. I also believe that you'll see Mark Vientos, Brett Batty, Francisco Alvarez, Ronnie Mauricio all shopped as well, and see who's gone out of that group. Wouldn't be surprised to see 2, even 3 of those 4 shipped out to other teams. David Schultz says the top of the order has been taking turns sucking. They need better contact hitters to extend innings. The coaching staff and GM have to be held responsible. This top of the lineup has not lived up to the hype that we thought it was going to have. Soto had the slow start, had the terrific June. Pete started out hot. He has been just going down steadily ever since then. And Lindor has been peaks and valleys. But let's be honest, at this point, Lindor has been down more than he has been up this year. And it has been killing this team. And I love Lindor. We know after the toe injury, it just seems like that's the line of demarcation in his season here in 2025. But the top of the order just hasn't done it for us. Brandon Nemo turning into a powder hitter. You love to see it, but you also got to take the good with the bad. And the bad is that he strikes out a lot, and we see that again here in the 9th inning tonight. So it's another really ugly loss for the Mets, you guys. 8 in a row. They are on the precipice of being out of the playoff picture. Let me know how you guys are feeling in the chat. Do you think they make the playoffs here? Leave this video a like if you have not already. Really appreciate you guys being here. Kev Chada says, nope, sorry. We keep losing the chat because y'all are just popping off, and I appreciate it. Let's see. No, I can't find it anymore. Kev Chada, there we are. It's clear Mendoza has lost a team. You can't start the season with him. I think it's going to be a very different team next year. So you can start next season with Carlos Mendoza at the helm. Whether they do that or not, I don't know. But there has to be an audit of this team. I need to understand what is it that went wrong. Was there some internal conflict in that clubhouse that we didn't know about? Or was this just a matter of the guys not playing to the back of their baseball cards? But it's still doesn't excuse the stupidity that we have seen on so many occasions over the last 4 months, including today, where you have a guy getting picked off as second with first and second, nobody out, Brett Batty. You have Francisco Alvarez committing a catcher's interference. You have the bullpen, a new culprit every day, finding a way to blow it. You have Starling Marte taking strike 3 with the bases loaded in the first inning and not being able to do anything against Patrick freaking Corbin, 37, 38, 39 years old, who the Mets have always crushed, an ERA over 5.5 on the road this season. What the hell happened? I need to know that before I fire Mendoza. I need to understand what happened. Those exit interviews, my God, they're going to hit like crack. I can't wait to hear all the leaks from the reporters to understand what the frig happened with this team. Ray, let's see. Tony, a trash can would spit out this team. Oscar the Grouch would be insulted if you tried to throw the 2025 Mets out. And Joe had a really good line yesterday. He said that if Pete Rose was managing the 2025 Mets, he would bet against them. I love it, guys. Tom, even with Soto's greatness, the team's not performing. Frustrating. It's just... Soto has a historic season despite it, being a little tumultuous there at times, and the Mets are going to have a worse record than they did last season. They are probably not going to make the playoffs if you ask me at this point. I'm out of words. I am just out of freaking words to describe this team. Let's see. Danny Caps and Jose says maybe the Mets need another Carlos managing next year. Beltran? ? Maybe. I don't know. He's never managed, obviously, because we know another stain on the franchise that is the New York Mets. Of course, him getting fired before ever managing a game because of his involvement with the Astros cheating scandal. So I don't know. He was there at Alumni Day today. So maybe Carlos, bring in Carlos Beltran as the manager next year. Quet's Flight 5. In the start of 2024, the team seemed lost and uninterested until Lindor took charge with the only players meeting. And they tried that this year, guys. They tried it out in Pittsburgh after they came out and got squashed in the first 2 games. And what happened? They got swept out of Pittsburgh, and they have just never recovered. Honestly, the cracks in the foundation had shown well before that, but they tried the players only meeting again in Pittsburgh, and they got absolutely destroyed by the Pirates. And it has just been all downhill since then. Max value, Max not making the playoffs, probably finishing sub 500. The core is Rod and Lindor. Nemo's contracts are going to F us for another 5 to 10 years. So it's 5 more years for Lindor after this one. I believe it is 4 more for Nemo after this one. I think he had a 7-year contract after 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So 23, 24, 25, I believe, if that all sounds correct. But yeah, man, this team, I think there's going to be changes. I do think the Mets are going to shop Nemo around this offseason. I truly do believe that. I don't know if any team's going to want to take on that kind of money for Brandon Nemo, who has taken steps back in left field defensively, whose bat, yeah, it's nice when it's on, but he's the definition of hot and cold. And as far as Lindor, I am not interested in trading him. I don't see how you can trade Francisco Lindor and make your team better. And we are entering the prime of Juan Soto. So I am not interested in punting on a season. So for me, Lindor has got to be around. But I am totally okay with moving Brandon Nemo at this point, with shaking up this core, with moving David Peterson, with seeing what you're going to get out of Clay Holmes as a reliever, or otherwise putting him on the trading block as well. And the same for all the baby Mets. And I think they call them the baby Mets because I think all they know how to do is crap themselves. Because you saw it there in the 8th inning. Brandon Nemo, second, nobody out. Mets just blew the lead. It's 2-2. Brett Batty strikes out. Francisco Alvarez grounds out weakly to the left side. The baby Mets just continue to crap themselves. Tom, the pitching is the problem. But blame Mendy all you want. Yeah, I mean, it's just somebody new blowing a game every day. Could be the bullpen, could be the starting rotation, not getting out of the first inning like Jonah Tong yesterday, although I absolve him of blame from yesterday's game. It's just always a new pitcher coming in to blow it. Let's see. Carey Jones, dude takes out Sproat in the middle of a gem with only 70. What a dumbass. We don't need Schwarber. We need pitching. Well, we definitely need pitching. There's no doubt about that. But I still don't think that letting Sproat pitch the 7th inning there was going to change anything. I really don't. Let's see. Musicum. I would trade Lindor for a starting pitcher. No doubt. I don't know, man. I don't know if I would do it for a starting pitcher unless we're talking an ace. And even then, I just don't see how realistic that is. Plus, where are you getting a shortstop that on a good year is going to give you an 800 OPS and Gold Glove defense? We have not gotten Gold Glove defense from Francisco Lindor this year, and I don't know if it's because he's taken a step back because of age or if that broken toe is the issue. I don't know, man. There are so many things about this team that I just can't explain away. How they have just completely thrown up all over themselves now for 4 consecutive months. Guys, go ahead, leave this video a like if you have not done so already. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you guys are not subscribed already, be sure to do that. Daily Mets content, post-game recap after every Mets game. And you can follow me on all the other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Links to all those are in the description of this video below. So real quick, Chloe says, Nemo was a full no trade clause in his contract. Yeah, so he is probably not going anywhere. Yeah, he has 5 years, 120 left. I mean, that is not a problematic contract by any means. I would not have a problem moving him, and I don't think teams would have a problem accepting that, even if the Mets had to eat a little bit of it. So we'll see what happens. But I just am a believer that there is going to be a shakeup of the core of this roster for sure. I don't see the mainstays that we think of in terms of Lindor, Nemo, Soto, Alonso, and then McNeil, throw him in the mix, some of the baby Mets and some of the starting rotation. I don't see how a core can recover from the just abyss that they have fallen into this year. This is 4 months of bad baseball, guys. This is June, almost all the way through September. June, July, August, and we are halfway through September, and the Mets continue to look like garbage. I don't see how you can bring back this same team. Outside of a few of them, I don't see how you can bring back a lot of these faces for 2026 and expect different results. Jose says Lindor is a very durable player. You just don't get a shortstop that can play 162 and produce 100%. And so, I mean, I'm hard pressed to trade Francisco Lindor. If I'm being honest, I just don't see there being anything that is going to come back in a trade worthwhile that makes this team better than Francisco Lindor playing shortstop for the Mets. Guys, let's go over to SMY, see what these guys have to say about another brutal, terrible loss. Juan Soto, the guy that actually is performing, getting questioned about what's going to happen with this team down the stretch if they still have time to turn things around. Doesn't seem like it.
The talent and the preparation is there. Why does this keep happening?
I don't know, man. We're definitely trying to figure out what is going on. we're playing our ass out every night, but it's just not going in our ways. We have the best closers in baseball, and he just make one mistake and make him pay. So it's just crazy how the games ain't going. But like I say, we're just gonna keep grinding, keep going, moving forward. There's no excuses. We just gotta go out there and keep trying to beat them.
Well, Juan Soto has obviously been fantastic here down the stretch, so Juan deserves absolutely zero blame. Put his mark on this one today, the homer, base hit in the ninth to extend it, give them an opportunity to tie this game, and it just hasn't been good enough. It just hasn't been good enough for the rest of this team. And the question there proposed by the reporter said that the talent and the preparation is there. And I'm starting to question, is the preparation there? Because these guys look like they've never played baseball sometimes. The catcher's interference, getting picked off second base with 2 runners aboard and no outs. The relievers coming in, unable to get the outs that they were traded for to do here or signed to do here for this team. I mean, it's just a new culprit every night. I'm not sure about this preparation, and that, of course, would fall on Carlos Mendoza, without a doubt. Let's hear what his message is to Mets fans. This was the question to Soto.
Message to the fans be of why this thing could get turned around.
Keep hoping, because we're gonna turn these around.
Hope.
We going out there. We're giving our 100% every night. So there's nothing else we can do. We just playing hard, busting our ass, and seeing what happens.
Keep hoping, guys. That's what you need to do as fans. Just keep hoping that the Mets are going to stop playing with their heads up their ass. Just keep hoping that they're finally one day going to wake up and realize, oh, we're not in the playoff picture anymore. We better turn it on now. There's no light switch to flip for this team. This is who they are. This is 4 months of uncompetitive baseball. Even if they won today's game, would that have made you change your mind? Even if they won it 2-0 tonight, would you have been impressed with today's performance? With all the mistakes and miscues that they had? This team has played sloppy. They have looked uninspired. They don't have a comeback win in 65 losses. 0-65 when entering the 9th inning trailing. That should be impossible to happen for any team, even the Rockies, the Pirates, all of the bottom feeders of the league will step in shit and get lucky with one of those kinds of wins. But this team, the highest payroll team in baseball, they can't seem to find a way to do it. So why should we hope as fans that all of a sudden it's just going to magically turn around here now in the final 12 games when there's a very good chance that we wake up tomorrow morning and the Giants are ahead of us in the wild card standings? I don't understand, man. This team is just feeding us crap. I really would. Oh, here we go, Mendy. This is what I want to hear from Mendy. But real quick, let me go back to the chat. Max value, Max. I'd love to get rid of Nemo. Don't know if anyone would want him. 5 years, 120 ain't bad, especially if the Mets ate a little bit of it. Pete's gone for sure. He says, yeah, I don't see Pete coming back next year. There's just no way, no how. David Stearns didn't even want to bring him back for this year. Edward Christian, Aquan, gutless Mets. Lindor should have caught it. Alvy's catches interference. Diaz shouldn't pitch the 8th. Batty getting caught. How can we win? Phenomenal start for Sproat and Soto at his prime. Mets need to overhaul. Yeah, pretty much took the words out of my mouth there, Edward. You listed all the big mistakes by this team 100%. And of course, the Mets waste a brilliant start. Well, brilliant, really good. Brilliant by in definition by what the Mets have been getting from all the other guys in their starting rotation. I'll call Sproat's start brilliant. 6 innings, no outs, only 70 pitches. Easily could have went out for the 7th. Yeah, we'll give it to him. Shea Kid forever. You think Dusty still wants to manage as in Dusty Baker? I don't. I saw that he was in the booth. I think they were in San Francisco. He came and joined Gary and Keith. I don't think so. I think Dusty's done. He got his World Series with the Astros a few years back. So yeah, I don't see Dusty Baker wanting to come back, but not a bad idea. Bob Bowie, managers are only as good as his players, not vice versa. Thank you, Bob. I couldn't agree more with you on that one. Players letting Mendoza down. Yes. So, I mean, look, you have to make sure that he is preparing them the right way. And I want a full audit and investigation into the preparation led by Mendy, the pitching coach, the hitting coaches, plural, Jeremy Barnes and Eric Chavez. I want all of that to be audited this offseason, and then we could determine what's going on. If there was a clubhouse culture issue, that's another thing that would fall on Mendoza, but these guys just have not gone out and played good baseball. Top to bottom, everyone on the roster is a culprit in this season going down the drain. Professor Mendoza, ethics course, Post University, that's a long name. It's on Stearns and Mendy. Trade deadlines flopped and no much needed pitching. Players have tuned out Mendy. I'm sorry, I disagree. I don't feel that way, but it is really interesting that we as fans all seem to have differing opinions. Some of us are blaming Mendy, some of us don't blame him. I definitely do blame David Stearns. David Stearns thought that he was going to get huge steps forward from the baby Mets in terms of Alvarez and Batty and Vientos. I thought Vientos was going to be that 30 home run bat this year and for the next 10 years for this team. So I was also wrong about Vientos, but he thought that he would be able to patchwork the starting rotation. Yeah, bring in Frankie Montas. That'll fix everything. Let's convert Clay Holmes into a starter and have him throw twice the amount of innings he's ever thrown in a single season in his career. Surely that won't start to deteriorate in the second half. Well, everything that we all question this offseason has proven to be correct, has proven to be the case. So for me, Stearns and the players are the biggest culprits for the Mets' downfall here so far. Edward says Stearns and Mendoza butchered this year. See, this is just crazy. Some fans are saying, no, it's the players. Some are saying it's Stearns. Some are saying it's Mendy. Some are saying it's both the GM and the manager. And that is probably the scariest part about where the Mets are at right now, that we can't even really pick out what's wrong with them. Because one night it's the lineup, one night it's the starting not giving them any length, then it's the bullpen in the case of today, and fielding and fundamental errors on the base paths and in the field that caused them to lose this one. And that is so freaking concerning that it's just a new way to lose every friggin' game. Guys, go ahead, leave this video a like if you've not already. Really appreciate it. It's another ugly, terrible loss for the Mets. 8 in a row. Salvatore Mio, I don't know how to say that name. I would love to see Lindor post-game wearing sweats or a t-shirt and a short, easy haircut instead of the expensive outfits. And this is the things that fans start to pick apart as when your team is losing. Nobody bats an eye when they're wearing all their crazy outfits and, their hair and all that stuff when they're winning. But when you're losing, yes, this is what we start to focus on. Spend a lot of time on your outfits for the day and on your hairstyles, and we start to pick apart that kind of stuff because we're frustrated. We are just all so freaking frustrated with this team. Nico says, I like how many people blame Soto when compared to him. Most of them are washed up bums. What a joke. Nobody at this point can blame Juan Soto. He is bulletproof at this point, man. He has been on fire for the most part here in the second half. The historic June, really good August, and now pretty solid September here so far in the first 2 weeks. So Juan Soto has given it his all, and unfortunately, he's just one batter in a lineup of 9. He's just one fielder of 9. So he's doing what he can, and we've just not got enough contributions from the rest of this team. Quet's Flight says, just saying, but maybe Stearns tried to make trades besides Alonso, half the team, and no one wanted them. I'm not sure I understand that comment if I'm being straight up. Tom Lindor is a clown. Sorry, could never be the team leader. Oof. Salvatore says, Lindor's priorities are messed up this year. I don't care how sincere he gives an interview. Tom, why Lindor gets a pass? Can anyone answer? Armand, everyone's to blame. And guys, that's just it at this point, man. Everybody deserves some blame. The lineup, the rotation, the defense, the bullpen, the manager, the GM. Everybody deserves some blame. They all have a hand in what is turning out to be a historic collapse. And we as fans are just being laughed at around the league, man. It's crazy to see. Let's see. Jimmy James C. What's up, Jimmy? He says we saw problems with the team way before the deadline, and Stearns stayed put until he could make some measly moves last minute. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Cedric Mullins, my goodness, I would take Darren Ruff over Cedric Mullins at this point. I've never seen a worse trade acquisition outside of the other one he put in the bullpen and Ryan Helsley. Absolute flop of a trade deadline for David Stearns this year, guys. Nico says we all appreciate Pete, what he's done, but throw him an outside sinker, and he's pretty much done. Exactly. The sinker, the slider, even the high fastball. Pete's, the numbers are there, but it's not been as exactly as impactful as, you know, it was those first 2 months. Salvatore says, pronounce Moyo. Thank you. Okay, Salvatore. I'm going to call you Sal. Sal Moyo. That's my guy. Two Cat says, Carlos Mendoza. Carlos Mendoza just stares at I see Carlos Mendoza just stares with his creepy blue eyes at the camera with his triple chin as the Mets lose their 17th straight. Man, that is brutal. Let's actually hear what Carlos had to say about this loss. 8th in a row for the Mets.
Pile up, and in the manner that they have, what is the challenge of keeping a positive outlook?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy right now, especially when you're not able to finish the job, you know, in a game where you felt like you had it, and then before you know it, you know, you're behind. Yeah, continue to, you know, come back the next day and bring the same attitude here, and, you know, it's not about how good.
Let me stop you right there, Carlos. Stop whatever attitude or opinion or whatever feelings you're bringing to this field, because what you've been bringing is dog shit. So how about you just stop whatever you've been doing and completely change it, take a 180 and go the other direction instead of down this cliff that we've been heading for the last 3 months.
We're preparing and all that. That's all great. It's just about the results now, you know. And when you're going through stretches like this, you know, everybody has to do their part, right? And
yeah, everybody does their part in finding a way to lose. No doubt about that. Everybody is doing their part, finding a way to lose for this Mets team. It is just, wow. Sorry, the stream is kind of going off the rails again here, guys. We just got a lot of people in here. I think that's part of it. But he talked about Sproat not going back out for the 7th. But again, I'm sorry, guys. I just don't see how that would have changed this game. You had Rayleigh pitch a scoreless 7th, and then you end up going to Rogers in the 8th anyway. And the catcher's interference sets all of that up. And then obviously going to Diaz there, 4-out save, not out. So I'm still that the team is kind of getting a little derailed here, but I'm going to play this Mendy video, and then I think we'll probably wrap things up.
Throughout this losing streak, you guys have kind of hung your heads on the idea that you're not. Or how does that add to it?
well, I mean, we're not in a playoff spot right now, and we're here to achieve our ultimate goal. And if the season's over right now, I don't think we're there, right? So we got to get going here fast. That's the battle line. You know, we got to start getting. We got to get the job done, because that's, you know, period. You know, it's been too long. So.
Yes, indeed it has. It has been too long. The Mets have now lost 8 in a row, you guys. It is maybe in my 25 to 30 years of watching the Mets, it has just become an absolute joke. I am just at my wit's end with this team, and if they don't turn it around soon, they are going to, in fact, miss the playoffs. So here we are after another brutal loss for the Mets, guys. Make sure to leave this video a like. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and do that now. If you're not subscribed, be sure to do that as well. Daily Mets content, post-game recap after every Mets game, and we'll continue to do that through the rest of the season, whether that ends on September 28th, the final day of the regular season, or if it comes in the playoffs, but that's looking more and more unlikely as the days go by. So, very frustrating, no doubt about it, guys. And I apologize again for the stream kind of getting all messed up here, but thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back with another post-game recap tomorrow. So be sure to subscribe, be sure to leave this video a like, and we'll see you then. But until then, I'm Tony Metro. Stay true to the orange and blue.